I'm on a mission to help people reconnect to their true self and tap into their full potential, because I know the pain of losing yourself. For like 10 years, I completely lost myself.
Do you think you still would have found that same potential? Or do you think the other opportunities created the catalyst that has actually made you who you're becoming?
It only takes one decision and one decision that you truly mean, not one that you kind of mean, because there's so many times, for example, I would say I'm going to stop drinking and that's it, I'm done. But I didn't really fucking mean it. Like the next week I was back on it again.
But I was going to ask you, what was it like getting that email from us?
It's so interesting. This is one thing that I talk about a lot.
This is the TEDxNorthernQuarter podcast.
Scott Thomas, CEO of the Social PR, podcaster and motivational speaker. Welcome to the TED and Talks podcast by TEDxNorthernQuarter.
Wow, I love that. I always love the introductions on these podcasts.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever see myself in that light a lot of the time. So thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome, mate. But how does it feel to be saying that in less than just 2 months, you're going to stand on a red dot that some people dream their entire lives of standing on to do a TED Talk?
It feels surreal. This was a vision board moment for me, as you guys know. And it's really opened up my eyes to what being a public speaker is and to what's involved in terms of being a motivational speaker, because I've been saying for a long time that that's my number one goal now. But through this process and through the resources you guys have provided me with, the coaches, everything else, I've realized what it takes. And I've really fallen in love with the craftsmanship of being a speaker. And I'm so grateful, but also so excited, because I feel like this talk that I've been working on is actually going to be my arrival into the motivational speaking space. I've headlined Happy Place Festival. I've done some other really like good talks, but I feel like this one is the one that's really going to kind of be my flagship talk for everything that I do moving forward.
Well, it's what most people will find when you type it in on YouTube. If someone types Scott Thomas into YouTube or Google, TED are really good with their algorithm, and it will be one of the first things that comes up.
No pressure then.
No pressure at all, my friend. But I was going to ask you, what was it like for you that day? Because obviously we're here today because you're going to be a future TED speaker. We sent you an email with the opportunity. What was it like for you? I don't know if it was you who read that email or whether it was one of your team. When you got that invitation, can you describe what it was like to get that for you? Because this speaking's a relatively new thing for you, isn't it? It's a new chapter of your life. So to be offered this, what seemed almost like a perfect alignment for where you wanted to be in life. Yeah. What was it like getting that email from us?
Yeah, we hadn't been stalking you, so we didn't actually see your vision board. No, it was on there before that.
Yeah, it was incredible. Literally, it was just another moment in time. Like my whole team, my family, everybody around me is kind of freaked out, because my vision board is literally coming to life, like slowly but surely. And things are coming to me as well, like, which is a crazy thing. So when I got the emails, like I think a few months before that, around 6 months before that, I actually tried to get in touch with someone from TED, literally got no responses, didn't hear anything back. And then sometimes I think when you let go and you allow things to come to you, they really do. And I'm massive on Dr. Joe Dispenza. I went to his retreat in Nashville, and he taught me a lot about that in terms of just relaxing, trusting the process, surrendering a lot more. As long as you're moving in alignment with who you truly are, like these opportunities will start to come to you. So yeah, it was just like another moment of like, wow, this shit works. And yeah, for me, it was just, I am not like fully immersed into the motivational speaking space just yet. Like this, I'm still like new to the craft, but I also understand exactly the weight and the credibility TED holds within the space. So it was just a massive moment for me, and I've taken this very seriously. Like I understand the process in terms of the coaching and what it takes, and I've been so thorough, and I'm going to make the most of every opportunity.
Yeah, and it's interesting, that whole thing about being a motivational speaker, because it's a label that some people love and other people hate.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. What do you find you're going to want to motivate people about? Like, what is your passion? What's the thing that you really want to help people connect to? Because you obviously have gone to work with lots of other motivational people. We spoke earlier about the fact that you're going to go and see Tony Robbins, like one of literally the biggest motivational speakers in the world. What is it that you want to motivate people around? What's your thing at the moment? Because it often changes, but right now, what is the you that you want to motivate people about?
Yeah, so I'm on a mission to help people reconnect to their true self and tap into their full potential, because I know the pain of losing yourself. For like 10 years, I completely lost myself. And I didn't even know at the time I was a professional party boy. I was out 3-4 nights a week. I was taking lots of drugs, drinking myself into oblivion. And I didn't know how to break out of it. And I didn't know who to ask for help. But what I did know is that I wasn't reaching my potential. I could see my potential. I could feel it. But I didn't know how to tap into it. And what I realized on my journey was it wasn't about becoming somebody else. It was about becoming more of who I truly was. And it wasn't about adding more into my life. It was actually about removing stuff from my life, removing my relationship to alcohol, removing toxic environments, removing friends who no longer aligned. And through doing that, I reconnected back to myself. And now when I see people, even some of my friends who come around to my house now for like vision board sessions and everything else, I'm not trying to teach them something new. I'm just trying to remind them of who they are. And I'll give you an example. Like one of my friends is like a really credible actor and everything else. And he's been through a tough time, and he used to be like at the height of his fame, and he's had a tough time. And anyway, he's trying to get himself back. And he was on the phone to me and he said, yeah, I'm thinking about being a paddle coach. Bear in mind, I love paddle, right? But straight away I said to him, I said, are you winding me up? I said, do you not understand who you are? And he was like, what do you mean? I went, do you know who you are? Like, and even me just saying that to him, you could just hear the change in his voice, because sometimes all it takes is one person to remind us of who we are. And I've had it in my life before where someone said to me like, do you not see yourself? And I get goosebumps when I say it now, because it's those moments in time that allow me to find my way back to myself. And that's all I want to do now, is literally just ask the right questions to people. I'm not going to try and recreate the wheel. I just want people to see who they are and remember what they're capable of.
And touching on that journey, what you just said, with a lot of speakers, a lot of them specialize in a certain area because they've been through something in their life that makes them go down that. So, for example, motivational speaking. You often find with a lot of motivational speakers, they want to go into motivation specifically because they themselves have been at a point where they needed that same motivation they want to give to others. Was there a particular point in that journey? I know you've said you've battled with drink and drugs, but was there ever one day where you went, no, this is the moment that you feel comfortable sharing anyway, where you went, no, fuck me, I've had enough. This is the moment where, was it a family member, or was it a day you woke up, or was it a situation that made you go, I need to change my life?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that phrase once as, did you have a had enough moment?
Oh yeah.
When we were like, that's it, I've got to make a change.
There were so many moments across my journey, but I'm not going to go too much into the moment, because that's one of the core stories of my TED. Okay. So I don't want to give it away too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely a moment in time, and it was in that moment in time where it wasn't, compared to some people's rock bottoms, it probably wasn't as bad, but for me, it was like, just like the final straw.
Yeah. And
I think it's more the fact that it was the first time I got in the way of my true potential. I'd pissed people off before, I'd upset people, I'd had damaged relationships, but this was the first time something happened where it directly got in the way of my potential, my business, my success. And that meant so much to me. And that's when I knew I had to do something about it. And I always say it just takes one decision. Like once you hit that point, it only takes one decision and one decision that you truly mean. Not one that you kind of mean, because there's so many times, for example, I would say I'm going to stop drinking and that's it, I'm done. But I didn't really fucking mean it.
Yeah.
Like the next week I was back on it again. But this time, in that moment, I knew something was different. And that's why I always say to people, like, how badly do you mean it? How badly do you want it? And do you really mean it? Because when you really mean it and you make that one decision, the whole world opens up for you. Like, it's almost like the world just gets out of your way, because it's all about intention. So yeah, I did have that moment, and it led me to that one decision, and I'm so grateful. And from there, it was such a domino effect.
Do you think if you hadn't have had those moments of fame, being on Love Island, the TV, and millions of followers, and maybe access to be able to go and invest in yourself, do you think you still would have found that same potential? Or do you think the other opportunities created the catalyst that has actually made you who you're becoming?
I feel like ever since a young kid, I was like the golden child of the family, right? So I was the professor of the family, the one who was the smart one, and my brothers were both the actors of the family. And I've always been what you would class as a high achiever, even from an early age. I went to a really academic school. I got my 4 A stars, 5 A's, 3 A's at A level. And then somehow I went from that Scott to this party boy. I lost myself in the nightlife industry, became a professional party boy for 10 years as a nightlife promoter. And I was really good at throwing parties, being the ultimate lad and everything else. But I've totally forgot about that Scott, the Scott who loved learning, who loved performing in school plays as the Artful Dodger. Like, I completely forgot about a whole part of me, and I call him Little Scott. And then I basically went on this journey trying to fit in, trying to be like everybody else, and in turn forgot about this guy. And it sounds so weird, but now it's almost like I've reconnected back to Little Scott, who I was probably meant to always be, which sounds daft because I think we're always meant to go through what we're meant to go through. But I just feel like all of us know deep down that we're capable of something. And this is what I said to my same friend the other day. I said, do you wake up in the morning and think to yourself, I am destined for great things? Without even a second thought, he went, yes. I went, well, that's all you need to know. Because he said, I've had so many knocks, I've had everything else. And that was the same with me. I had so many knocks and everything else. But the one thing I'm so proud of is that I never gave up, because I always felt it in my intuition that I was capable of great things. And I think that's what it means to be a human. It's just to reach your potential. And I'm not saying that we have to like work so hard and we have to achieve £1 billion businesses and everything else, but we all know what our potential is. And that's all it is for me. And right now I'm finally the Scott that I always wanted to be, and that's enough for me.
One common trait I've discovered amongst so many of the entrepreneurs that I meet, because I hang out with successful content creators, business leaders, is they have delusional confidence, and that you can achieve anything, no matter whether you've got the lowest amount of income or all income. It all comes down to the confidence and belief in yourself, fundamentally.
Yeah, for the first time in my life, and I don't say this to be arrogant, I feel like I could walk into any room and not feel intimidated and not feel like I can't do something. Like, for example, for the first time in my life, I want to create generational wealth. And it's never really been about that for me, if I'm honest. It's always been about just recognition, looking like I was the guy, looking like I had a great business, looking like I had it all figured out, rather than actually going, wait a second, what's going to lead to the tangible results? And for the first time in my life, I want to create wealth. And I say that with my chest because I want more so I can give more.
Yeah.
And when I go around now and I look at these, when I'm abroad on holiday, I look at these mansions and these flash cars and stuff, for the first time in my life, I don't think that's unachievable. And I feel unstoppable. And this confidence that I've got right now, I want to bottle it up, and I'm going to bottle it up in my frameworks and my book and everything I do, and try and share this with people, because when you feel like this, you really do feel like anything is possible. And it's not like, oh, I've got all these skills and I can do anything. I'm not like delusional in that sense. But what I mean is, if I'm moving in alignment, like doing what I was born to do, which I truly believe is speaking, because I just love learning stuff. I love sharing it. I love performing on stage. I'm combining everything I love. If I'm moving in alignment with who I truly am, I believe there's no ceiling to it. So I'm not going to sit here and say to you, right, I'm going to go off and be an NBA basketballer or anything like that. But when you are moving in alignment with who you truly are, that's when I feel like you are unstoppable. But that, again, means removing anything that's not you. And that's what I want to help people do.
You'd said something there that I just want to pick at. You mentioned generational wealth. I know family is very important to you. You and your brothers in particular, a trio of you can see the love between you and your brothers in particular. How has your family's like views and reaction been to your transformation into the speaking journey? I think it was one of your podcasts, I remember saying that, believe me, correct me if I'm wrong, your brothers didn't believe it at first when you said you were going to change your life around and you wanted to go into the speaking world. What's been those around you, your family and your friends' reaction to this whole new Scott reconnecting with younger Scott again?
It's so interesting. This is one thing that I talk about a lot, is that sometimes when we're trying to change, it can be the people that we love the most that try and keep us where we are. And it's not because they don't love us. It's because it's scary for them to see you change, because people like an expected version of you. And for years, like, I just wanted my brothers to see me as the new Scott, or even some of my closest friends. But especially with family, right? Because you always got the family dynamics to take into consideration as well as everything else. But yeah, I was just like, why don't you believe me? I've changed. I'm this guy. And I was just like waiting for this acceptance and waiting for people to clap for me along the journey. And it's only literally in the last year now where the shift has happened, where my own family and my brothers see me as this Scott, because I've been consistently showing up like this now for a very long time. And also, the results, the proof is in the pudding. Too many good things that I said were going to happen are starting to happen. And listen, what I've realized now is it's not even about waiting for them to accept you. You have to accept yourself along the journey. And that's the bit that I wish someone told me like more clearly along the way, that don't wait for anybody else to clap for you. Like, you just have to believe it. And over time, they will start to accept you as the new Scott. And listen, my brothers love me more than anyone, right? But we like an expected version of the people that we know, because otherwise it makes us feel uncomfortable. And there's so many people that I've lost touch with now, not because I don't love them. I love them so much, but every time I'm with them, they couldn't accept this Scott, because a lot of people saved me. A lot of people were there to help me through a tough time. So they were my savior. So when I'm around them now and I'm in my power and I'm like, I don't need them as much.
Yeah.
They don't know how to be with me. And the only way they know how to talk to me is like how they used to talk to the other Scott. So it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. So there's so many people now who I love with all my heart, and I'll be there for a split second, but I don't spend as much time with them because I want people around me now who accept me as the new Scott.
Yeah.
But again, it takes time and it takes consistency, and it just takes not giving a fuck, if I'm honest. And I wish someone told me that along the way, because I was still, wait, why don't you see me now as the new person, where it's only you who has to see you?
I talk about this a lot when I'm running personal development courses. I do a lot of NLP training and so forth. And particularly when you're running something like a practitioner course, it's quite intensive. And your family are expecting to see the version of you that left the house. But the version of you that turns back up after you've been on a course or a long weekend, or like, you've had so many new learnings and thoughts and processes, and you've resolved shit from your past, and you've done all this stuff, and they're expecting that version of you to show back up. And it can take a long time for that adjustment, you know, for seeing yourself and for others to see you as well, because you've been doing the work and sometimes they haven't. That's often why on those courses, like, relationships change, or people split up, or they fall out with their family because they suddenly recognize that the people around them are also not doing the work. And that could be tricky as well. It's almost like people try and keep us in victim mode because they want to rescue and support us, and they love the old version of us that you needed my help for, not the new version of you that maybe you don't need me for, and that people don't quite know how to handle that.
100%.
And to add to that, Andy, as well, with a lot, when it comes to people the closest to you, a lot of times it's holding up a mirror to them as well, that when you're a representation of your personal development, it reminds them of how much they've not grown, because if they expect you to stay the same, it shows that they've not moved as well. My mum's the same. So I come from a council estate and I run a 6-figure business, but my mum can never, she was at my house yesterday and she turned up and she doesn't need to do these things like my mum. She really doesn't too, because I've got her out of that situation, but she'll still use old plastic bottles, because when we were growing up, like when it was glass bottles, she would keep it to put the stuff in. She still does it. I was like, Mum, why have you brought this to the house? She's like, oh, you're too good for it now. And it's like, no, it's because I've just moved on from that point. And those people closest to us, sometimes it's the most painful for them to see us grow a lot of the time, which I'm not saying your brothers did this, but they probably they just weren't used to that change almost, because when someone's changing, you can feel like you're being left behind almost a little bit.
100%. And I just had a beautiful moment. We just filmed a birthday special for my podcast with my brothers. And Adam said, I've got a couple of words to read out for you. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Like, he wrote so many nice things about how I've inspired him and how I've been pivotal on his journey. And that's been the biggest gift of everything that I've done. The fact that, like, for example, when I went sober, my mum went sober at the same time. She's now, I think, like 6-7 years sober. She's a completely different person. She actually stayed not drinking way beyond I did. And then, like, my best friend went sober, became an Ironman. Like, and I never try to preach to these people or to my friends or my family.
Yeah.
I don't try to teach them. I try to show them. And that's one thing I learned early on in my journey, because I used to learn things and go, I wanted to share it with everyone. I go, why don't you get it? Why are you not listening? And then I kind of gave up and just thought, you know what? Like, just focus on my journey, and through my journey, hopefully I will inspire them. Yeah. And that's what's started to happen now. But there was a time, man, and people call it the lonely chapter. I think it's Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom. He talks about the lonely chapter where you've not quite found your new people yet, but you don't feel quite comfortable with your old people. Yeah. And I think that's something that we should talk about a lot more, because when you're going through it, you don't realize what's happening. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm on a mission now to do with the True Self Project and with my new conversation room, is that actually create the environments for people, especially men. Because what happens is when men are told to go and work on themselves, it's almost like we're told to, like, pull away from everyone and everything, right? Which I get is a really useful tool, because I think sometimes you have to have those alone times to practice self-awareness and to get to know yourself again. But at the same time, I think it would also be equally useful to have an environment you can step straight into with people on the same mindset as you, especially the guys who are coming out of the party scene and everything else. Like, they want to change, but none of their friends are doing the right things right now, but they can't find the new people.
Yeah.
So I'm on a mission now to create these environments through my events and stuff that basically bring like-minded men together and women eventually. But I think right now, starting with men, where they don't feel alone and they feel like they can expand and not basically be judged and held back by their existing group of friends, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, talking of tools, I mean, what about Andrew Tate's and the manospheres and all of that side of things? Because, you know, I really feel that a lot of personal development is almost being put back by people who are spreading that kind of toxic bullshit. You know, what's your thoughts around, you know, supporting people who've maybe been influenced by that, especially younger generations, where they think, oh, this alpha male is the, you know, the peak of what I'm looking to achieve, and this is how I'm going to treat people around me or women or whomever. You know, I think that also does a lot of harm to people out there putting out great content who really want to shift people's mindsets and support them. Have you come across that a lot in terms of the work that you're doing, almost like having to undo other people's?
Yeah, I feel like we just need to meet in the middle somewhere. I did a post on social media about the 10 things I've learned from being single. And it's because I know there's a lot of guys out there right now, and women actually, who need that reassurance that they're not on their own. But I also know that a lot of men would go, fucking hell, get a grip, mate, you wet wipe. And literally, there was one post and he said something like, honestly, you boys are just a bunch of wet wipes. The World War II generation would be a disgrace, would be so disappointing in you guys. And I just laughed at it because in a weird kind of way, I was like, do you know what? There's an element of what he's saying is like, I get where he's coming from. Because I feel like we don't want to be too soft, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time I think it's about pulling on different resources when it comes to masculinity. And I'll use an example. So sometimes I listen to David Goggins in the morning, right? Get up and everything else. But sometimes I'm thinking, fucking chill out, mate. Like, I just want to take it easy today. Now I might listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's all about stop chasing, start choosing. And I feel like it's up to us to pull on different fuels for different things, and we don't have to be so polarized. I think masculinity has been so polarized. Like, what about just being, I want to be an example of, I'm a normal lad who's going to create a dream life for himself. He's going to work hard and everything else, but he's also really in touch with his emotions. And I don't think there's anything more masculine than somebody who can talk about their emotions and say that they've been to therapy, they're willing to work on themselves, they're willing to own what they've been through. But instead in the world right now, it just seems like you're either this guy or you're this guy. And for me, it's like, what about somewhere in the middle? And I think that's my kind of approach to positive masculinity.
It's interesting that it does take time to shift that as well, doesn't it? And be the example. I stopped drinking about 7 years ago myself. And you get people around you go like, why have you done that? Like, there's nothing wrong. You know, let's come out to go to the pub. I still go to the pub. I just have a different drink. You know, I've got a friend of mine, Janie Lee Grace, great coach around sobriety, and she talks about like keep the ceremony, change the ingredient. There's no reason to stop doing the things you already want to go out and do. Just because you're changing something doesn't mean you have to change everything. You know, and we'll look at what you can do, what you can achieve, what you can put yourself out there for. And I think it's this ability for us to change our mind is a lot of why I got into doing what I'm doing now. And I think that's the fascinating thing about where talks like the TEDx and where the work that you're doing can enable people to, you know, change their mind. So I suppose as a result of your talk, what do you hope people might change in terms of their mindset?
I think a lot of people think the answers that we're looking for are out there, but I actually think they're within. And also the answers we're looking for is often in the silence that we're avoiding. And I think in a world that we live in now that's so overstimulated and we're being constantly distracted away from ourselves, I just want to be reminded that the answers you're looking for are right here.
Yeah.
And we don't have to become somebody else. We don't have to try and keep up with social media or keep up with everybody and always like constantly chasing something. And this is a message that I'm constantly learning, and there's levels to it. Like, I'm not the finished article. And when you mentioned earlier, like when I'm motivating myself as well. Like, that's why I love this game, because the more that I learn, the more I put this message out to the world, the more it allows me to apply it to my life as well. And I think that's the greatest gift, when you're actually working on yourself, but you get to help other people. It's a beautiful feeling. So yeah, I think for me, it's just like reminding people that their authenticity, their individuality is their superpower. Especially in a world now of AI and everything else. Like, I just want to remind people that they are already it.
Amazing.
And if you could have a conversation with that 27-year-old version of yourself before you went on the island, what would you now say to that him, and would he have listened?
Oh, man. So funny you say this. I was literally just driving in. I rarely come into town these days. And I was literally just driving past the casino, 235 Casino. And I used to stumble out there like 5, 6 in the morning after losing thousands of pounds, like on drugs, drunk out of my head. And I could see myself there just walking down the road. And I was just pulled up in my car, and I was this guy right now. And I just kind of wanted to get out the car and just put my arm around her. Oh, come here, you. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're capable of? You don't have to do this. Because all like the whole time I was living that life, I knew that wasn't quite me. I knew I was different in that sense. I knew I wasn't really the ultimate lad. It was just a mask that I was wearing to try to be accepted. And don't get me wrong, as a chapter of my life, as a young lad growing up, being out in town and everything else, yeah, it was glamorous, it was fun for a while, but the time it went on for, that was the moment where I lost myself.
Yeah.
And again, I just think sometimes people just need an arm around them and just a reminder of who they are. That's all I think people need, because a lot of us, through self-limiting beliefs, through trauma, through lifestyles, relationships, jobs that we hate, we just lose connection to ourselves. When deep down we all know that we're destined for great things, but it's just about tapping back into it.
So September 11th is fast approaching, Scott. I want to ask you, this is your first time going through any form of speaker coaching, speaker training. How have you found coming into the TED speaking coaching program in particular, from the minute you were onboarded, from that first call? What's it been like for you, for those that are listening to this now, who might watch your TEDx talk and go, I want to do what Scott's just done. How do I do a TEDx talk? What's it been like? Because it's work, and I call it a boot camp. And I told you when we had that first call, I went, hey,
judges' houses.
I told you, I weren't joking, mate. Hey, you remember the judges' houses line? Yeah. I told you, mate.
Yeah.
We don't piss about. Like, we take it serious because we invest our time into you, and we expect the same back as well.
100%.
And every TEDx event is different, but we hold ourselves to a certain standard. And it's not egotistical when I say this, but I know for a fact that we are one of the best TEDx events because of the quality of the coaching and the organisation that we do. So what's it been like for you to come into this, I would call it a well-oiled machine at this point, and be one of the TEDx Northern Quarter alumni, effectively, or soon to be anyway?
Yeah, first of all, a massive credit to you guys. Like, this literally is a well-oiled machine, and the process has blown me away. Like, the thoroughness, what it takes to deliver that talk on that day, and everything that goes on behind the scenes, like the emails, the WhatsApp groups, the coaches, the masterclasses. Like, you guys cover every base, to the point we're even discussing having coaching on our outfits for the event, and every detail, no stone is left unturned. So I've been blown away by it. And also the coaches that you guys have provided. I'm working with a guy called Steve Payne, who's just world class. And he's just blown me away in terms of what it takes to be a good speaker, and in terms of tonality, like rhythm, like just everything about the human language. And yeah, I've learned what it takes. And this is like I said, I feel like I've delivered a lot of talks, but this is actually going to be my first official talk in so many ways, because this is where I'm applying all the principles that I've learned. And yeah, I just think you guys have done like TEDx such a justice, like, because this is a real experience, but it's also not for the faint-hearted. And you have to keep up. You have to apply yourself. I've been doing weekly coaching now for months on end, and I've loved every moment of it. And this is all just to prepare a 15-minute talk. Some people only see that little glimpse when you go on stage, but in fact, what it takes to apply that is a whole new level.
I mean, how many iterations has your talk gone through?
So
how
many
titles.
Well, I've changed my title. I've changed my talk. It's still happening. And I love it.
Yeah.
You have until the minute we submit it to YouTube to change the title. So we're not saving you after that one, Scott.
All right. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So we've got a little tradition here at our TEDx Northern Quarter podcast, is to basically ask a question of, he's getting the little red book out, of the guest.
This is your life.
That the previous guest has asked.
Okay.
So our previous guest Miles from the Premium Fuel Club has written you a little question
Okay.
that Simran's going to read out, and we're just curious to know what your answer to it was.
So, Miles is Europe's youngest oil CEO, one of the sponsors of TEDx Northern Quarter.
Wow.
And the question that he wants you to answer honestly is the following. What gets you out of bed in the morning, and do you think you found your purpose on this earth?
I love it. Well, I feel like I can answer both questions in one. And I feel like what gets me out of bed in the morning is my purpose now. And it's to be one of the best motivational speakers in the UK, and maybe beyond that. But when I first said I wanted to be a speaker, my business coach said to me, why not the world? I went, well, because balance means a lot to me as well. And I love this craft, and I love it, and I want to inspire so many people, but I also don't want to lose myself in the process. But listen, that might be a limiting belief. Let's see what happens. But I'm on a mission now to change millions of people's lives. And you probably say, why? Well, because I know the pain of losing yourself. And I feel like this is something that comes so naturally to me, and something that's like, it's almost like a hobby for me. Like, I've been listening to motivational speakers day in, day out for years. They got me to this point. The likes of Eric Thomas, the likes of Simon Sinek, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. Like, this is my sport. This is my fun. And the fact that these guys have dragged me out the shit, I want to be the same person now that helps someone else tap into their full potential. So yeah, it's every single day now I wake up and I'm thinking, how would the #1 motivational speaker in the UK move? Not because I have to be him, but that's the standard that I want to hold myself to. That's the dedication now that I want to give this craft. So yeah, that's what gets me gassed in the morning. And I'm no longer being dragged towards my goals. I'm being pulled towards them. And I used to use pain as my fuel. Pain of being a pisshead, pain of not reaching my potential. Whereas now, for the first time in my life, I'm waking up going, just feeling like I'm being pulled towards my potential, because I'm so aligned. Everything I do now in my life, whether it's the podcast with my brothers, which is me having so much fun with my brothers, I'm creating that business, I'm hiring, and I'm the operational guy, I'm building something for my family, but I get to have so much joy with my brothers. Then I've got my social PR agency, which is like an extension of me. We're working with amazing brands, and we're managing talent, and social PR manages me as talent. And then I've got the motivational speaking space, doing my TED Talk, writing my book, and everything I do now, I'm finally moving in alignment. There's nothing where I wake up and go, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Every day I ask myself, does this align with me? And if it doesn't align with me, I get myself out of it as soon as possible. Whereas before, I was doing stuff because it looked good on paper.
Yeah.
It made me good money and everything else. Whereas for the first time ever, I'm fully aligned with my purpose. So to answer your question, yes, I have found my purpose, and that's the thing that gets me out of bed every single day.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is the TEDx Northern Quarter podcast.